Welcome to Blue Talks.
What a day here at Northwest University. Are you guys having fun? Put your hands together. And thank you so much to Northwestern University, the staff, and to the Blue Talk staff for bringing this together. This has really been a wonderful day so far. I woke up at my hotel this morning and pulled up my phone, opened up to my very favorite, truthy, most factual, fact-based media outlet, Facebook, to see what was on my feed. And right there was something that I'd learned years ago, and I was really happy to be reminded of it this morning, right before this event. And that's this. If something goes sideways in your life and you say, my life sucks, you feel self-deprecated, you feel down, you feel filled with sadness. But if instead you say, Godzilla wants more from me, well, then you feel motivated. And you think about Godzilla. And you realize Godzilla cares about you. Have you ever had a day where you wanted Godzilla to care about you? I had one of those days in 2001. Now, if you were born 1980 or later, raise your hand, let me know. So we do have a few. If you were born 1980 or later, I have to tell you, there was a time when we had these really cool cell phones with a really wonderful feature. They made phone calls. That's it. They made phone calls. And this was a golden age because this was the age of miniaturization. Cell phones were getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, they started in suitcases and got smaller and smaller until finally I was able to buy a phone for work that was about this big. It was a flip phone. It took up less space in my pocket than my keys. And this was a great day for me because prior to that, we had these Motorola bricks. You put them in your pocket, your pants were around your knees. I'm pretty sure that they made suspenders just to keep your pants up when you carried these phones. So I was so excited, and I take this phone to work, and I get to work that first day, and I'm about 2 hours into my day, and I realize something. My phone hasn't rung. Now, I worked construction at the time, and when you work construction management, your phone never stops ringing. My phone hadn't rung all day, so I open up my phone, I take a look at it, I've got all of these voicemails, but no missed calls. Now what that means is the calls aren't coming through to my phone, but they are going to my voicemail. So I called up the phone company and I said, hey, I got this problem, brand new phone, I might be doing something wrong. Can you help me with it? And she said, sure. She looked up my account and she said, well, sir, your phone is forwarded. I thought, that's odd. I didn't forward my phone, but who knows? We went through the setup, whatever. I said, can you undo it? And she said, no, sir, we can't do that from here. For security reasons, you can only forward and unforward from your phone. Great. Can you tell me how to do it? She gave me the instructions, and I said, just for giggles, can you tell me what number my phone was forwarded to? And she said, oh, yeah, your phone was forwarded to 242. 242, that's not even a phone number. What is that? But whatever. We set up the phone. We got it working. I'm happy. I go through the day. Great time with this phone. Love this phone. Threw it in my pocket. Didn't even know it was there. Went home that night. Had a good time. Got up in the morning. Got ready. Went out to work. My phone's not ringing. I opened up the flip phone and sure enough, I've got voicemails and I've got no missed calls. Now this is weird. So I called up the phone company and I said, can you tell me what's happening here? And this very nice voice came back and said, well, sir, your phone is forwarded. I said, well, we have a problem. I said, can you look at the records yesterday? We had this very same problem. And I said, I can promise you, I haven't forwarded the phone. And she said, well, yes, I see that, sir. And she said, I really don't know how it happened, but it can only happen from your handset. Only you can do this. And I said, I promise you, I didn't. This is a glitch. This is something going wrong. Well, sir, could somebody have done it as a prank? I can't honestly tell you that they didn't. I'm pretty sure that they didn't. But I'll take a look at that tonight and I'll make sure. So we ended that call and I closed my phone, went through the rest of the day. Everything was perfect. Got up in the morning, showered, shaved, had some breakfast, went out to work. And this day I was a little bit late. So as I was getting ready to walk out the door, my phone rang. And I'm happy. My phone rang. It's working. I answered the call. I put my phone away. I went out to the car, drove to work. Nothing. For the first hour of my day, no phone calls. So I open up the flip, and sure enough, there's a bunch of voicemails, and there are no missed calls. Now I'm cranky, because not only did I make sure that nobody was messing with my phone, but it worked that morning. How can it possibly get forwarded while I'm driving to work with this phone in my pocket? So I called up the phone company and I said, hey, can you help me with this? We have a real problem here. And I can promise you this time, I can absolutely promise you I did not forward this phone. And she said, well, sir, it can only be forwarded from your handset. Now I'm really mad at this point. By the way, have any of you guys ever dialed customer service and looked forward to that call? Have you ever dialed it and said, I cannot wait to spend another hour on the phone with customer service? Right? If you've ever had that experience, I just can't wait to spend this hour with customer service. Raise your hand. 1, 2, that's awesome. That's awesome. Doesn't work for me. I was not looking forward to this call. But I called her up and I said, we've got this problem. Can you look at the notes from the last 2 days? And she looked at the notes and she said, sir, I don't know what to tell you. It can only happen from your phone. Is it possible that it was dialed in your pocket? And I'm like, oh, great. We're going there. Not only was I very, very careful, it's a flip phone. It's closed in my pocket. And so I started to get really, really cranky in my tone of voice. And I'm not proud of this, but I was frustrated. And I said, not only are you telling me that my butt is smart enough to dial #7242, the same numbers every day, but it's also limber enough to open my phone, dial these digits, close my phone, all without me even knowing it. Do you really think my butt is that smart? Do you think my butt is that talented? And the sheepish voice came back and said, I don't know what to tell you. It can only happen from the handset. Now, the thing that was frustrating me at this point was I knew that's not the case. But not one time in any part of this conversation did she ever say, let me look and see if something could be going wrong on our side. Not once. This entire conversation revolved around how many ways I might be able to be dialing my phone this way. And so I blew up at this poor girl. I just blew up and I said, get your supervisor on the line because I want to hear what you're doing to figure this out on your end. Because it ain't happening on mine. And then I get stuck in this same conversation with the supervisor. Sir, it can only happen on your end. Now, I was so angry at this point that I slammed the flip phone closed, which was entirely unsatisfying because it was this big. The flip weighs a ½ ounce. It doesn't make any noise. Godzilla at this moment wanted me to have an old-fashioned phone with a big, heavy handset I could slam on the desk. Slam down on her. And I had a just terrible day that day. I went home at the end of the day and I walked in and my wife's like, what's wrong? So I told her the whole story and I ended. You realize this girl kept telling me that I'm doing this. And she said, what are the details? What happened? So I told her the whole story and I said, every day, this girl's telling me that every day I'm dialing #7242. #7 to forward the call, 242 it's being forwarded to. And my wife gave me that look. Now, if you live with a woman, you know this look. No, I'm not talking about the look. She wasn't upset at me. She wasn't angry with me. No, she gave me that worse look. Oh, you silly little boy. That look. You know, the look that when you're trying to find something that's on the table and they're like, if you just stop looking on the ceiling, you'd see it right there. The silly little boy look. Now I'm mad at her. I'm like, what? And she said, but you are. Oh, now I'm really mad. Now you're on her side. She said, you are. Think about it. What do you do when you walk out to your car every day? I said, I drink my coffee, I pick up my voicemails, and she said, exactly. When you pick up your voicemails, what do you dial on your phone? And I said, well, I call my own number, I push pound to interrupt it, and I enter my password. She said, what's your password? 7242. Now, I'm not going to say it's great engineering on the part of the phone company that entering a password for your voicemail will forward your phone. But I was, in fact, every day hitting pound 7242. Now imagine for a moment, put yourself in those shoes. Go Godzilla. Put yourself in those shoes. How would you feel at that point in time? I felt like this big. I ruined that girl's day. And the worst part of it was I did it because I wanted to. I was so frustrated, so upset, so angry. I wanted her to have a bad day. I wanted her to have a bad day just like I was having a bad day. And I felt so bad. So the next day, I woke up, and a lot of things were different in me. A lot of things were different in me. The first thing was I needed to call her. And so I waited until about the same time of day, and I called, and I said, hey, is there any way I can talk to this girl? And the gal I talked to went and she looked at the records for the last 3 days. I'm pretty sure she was over there going, there ain't no way in hell I'm going to let you talk to that girl. Right? But I explained the situation. I said, I really need to say sorry to this girl. And she said, we have no way to forward the call, sir. I have no way to put you over there, but I will make sure that she gets your message. I said, thank you so much. That day, I learned a different definition of an open mind. Now, I've always felt I'm an open-minded person. I'm open to new ideas. I'm open to talk to people. I want to learn. I want to expand. I want to learn new things about me, new ways to manage myself, new ways to grow. But I realized that day I wasn't open-minded at all, because open-minded means you must have the willingness to accept that you might be wrong. Think about that for a moment. You must have the willingness to accept that you might be wrong. Because if you don't have the willingness to accept that you might be wrong, how can you ever fully integrate a new idea that goes against what you believe? Open mind, the willingness to accept that in any given situation, I might be wrong. Now, is that self-deprecating? No, it's not self-deprecating at all. You're not saying you are wrong. You may not be. You may be completely right through the lens of your experience, through the lens of your beliefs, through the lens of your experiences. They might also be completely right through the lens of their experiences. In this case, a case where I could not possibly be wrong. I was completely wrong. So I've approached every interaction from that point in 2001 until today with this in mind. I walk into any interaction with the understanding that I could be wrong. Do you think that's changed my life? Well, think about this for a moment. What would happen if you're having struggles and challenges and all this drama in your relationship with your partner? What would happen if you both walked into your next conversation with the complete and open understanding that I might be wrong? Now, right now, everybody's saying, God, my partner needs to be here. They need to hear this. And I'm telling you, if you're thinking that about your partner's thinking that about you too. This starts with us. What would happen if you walked in and you said, babe, make me understand. I know I might be wrong. Make me understand. Do you think it would make that interaction go differently? Do you think it might strengthen that relationship? Do you think it might make you more open, more tight? What would happen if you took that exact same thought into your healthcare? They used to say, don't talk about religion and politics. Anything else is good. These days, you don't talk about diets and healthcare either. You are going to get in a fight if you're talking to somebody that's keto about veganism. If you're talking to somebody that's intermittent fasting about eating 3 meals a day and the value of getting all of your nutrients every day, you are going to fight. You talk to a gym rat about supplements, you're going to have a fight. Do you think if you walked into your own healthcare with the idea that you might possibly be wrong and learning more about how your body actually works and how you might be able to support it, that you might move your healthcare forward instead of being stuck exactly where you are, falling prey to the exact same emotional eatings and cravings every single time? How might it change your employment? If you and your boss sat down at a table with the understanding that I might possibly be wrong, and right here I know you're all saying it, yeah, that stupid little guy, I don't even know how he got the job. Of course he's wrong. No, you. If you sit in on that interaction with the idea that I might possibly be wrong, so let me see his perspective as a boss. Why does he do these seemingly crazy things that he makes us do? Why are we doing all this make work? Why are we running in circles? Boss, make me understand. I know I might possibly be wrong. Make me understand. Would this change your life if you had that kind of an open mind? Now, of course, the second thing I learned was be nice to people. No matter what, be nice to people because you don't know when it might come back and bite you in the butt. Be nice to people. But this idea of an open mind. You see, this is the first step to any learning. If you don't have the willingness to be wrong, now, have any of you guys heard, I'm sure you have, more people are afraid of public speaking than are afraid to die? Why are people afraid of public speaking? Isn't it because in some form they're afraid to be wrong? I'm going to get up here, I'm going to be vulnerable, I'm going to put my idea out there, and somebody out there is going to say, oh, you are so full of it. Isn't it that we're afraid to be wrong? Why do we sit there and argue vehemently with our partners, with our bosses, with whatever situation we're in? Isn't it afraid? That fear that we might be wrong? We're not afraid of all these other things. The number one fear in the world is the fear of being wrong. What happens when people are in Congress arguing the new law? Isn't it fear of being wrong in the eyes of their constituents or the people that they chummy up with? This is the number one step to creating alignment inside yourself. This is the number one step to bringing your inner self into harmony so that you're ready to take that next step to improve your life, to become bigger, to become better. Consider it. Are you willing to have that open mind? Thank you.